Canada has finally found their new manager, and the wait is finally over. After months of interviews and rumored candidates and shortlists, the CSA and Kevin Blue have finally found the next manager to take the Canadian men's national team into the new era and the most important era in Canadian footballing history, as we are now going to be managed by an American manager and a former Leeds United manager in Jesse Marsch. That is right, you are not hearing me wrong. The Canadian men's national team will be managed by an American, and more importantly, by a former Premier League manager and Red Bull program manager in Jesse Marsch. And this is an extremely exciting appointment by the CSA and by Kevin Blue. For me, have nailed this on the head. There's no one else who I think would have been a more perfect appointment. There was lots of other interesting managers I think that could have gotten a job and were rumored, but Jesse Marsch was the perfect appointment for the Canadian men's national team. And for myself, I've been saying it on the channel for some time, for months, that I think Jesse Marsch is the right man for the Canadian men's national team and the right man to take this side forward for so many different reasons, which we will be looking into on this video, because Jesse Marsch is such an exciting manager. And let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, of course. Is Jesse Marsch the one you guys want to see take this side, or was there somebody else? Of course, drop a sub and a like as well. We're going to continue to get into the huge news today, as this is extremely exciting, because all of the boxes that you were looking for with all of the managers we want to get appointed were checked. Has he managed big players within the world of football? Yes. Has he won huge European honors and managed at the top level in the Big Five leagues and Europe? Yes. Has he had a exciting tactical outlook where we're going to be playing exciting, free-flowing, attacking football? Yes. Is he North American based? Yes. Every single thing you want to get checked off with your next appointment and your next manager for the Canadian men's national team was checked off. And I really don't see many cons or negatives in hiring Jesse Marsch. There's going to be people trying to pick holes and trying to look at little finite details to say why he's not the one. He's American. He was fired from a few jobs, which we're all going to nail those points in this video and look into some more in-depth as well. But for me, every single thing I've been wanting in a new manager, everything most Canadian supporters have wanted in a new manager, has been checked off and has been pinpointed. And you can't really criticize the CSA and Kevin Blue at all anymore. They have done a phenomenal job here, the CSA and Kevin Blue. They have left no stone unturned in this appointment. Just in the past few weeks, we've seen the likes of Stefan Kuntz be rumored. We've seen the likes of Marek Paszpuzan be rumored, the Polish manager who is out of a job right now. We've seen the likes of Bobby Smirniotis, Tommy Wheeldon Jr., Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Paul Clement. Even a few months ago, Hervé Renard was reached out to, Frank Lampard, and even Jose Mourinho. The likes of Kevin Blue has left no stone unturned, and he is doing a phenomenal job for the Canadian men's national team and Canada soccer in a whole. And this appointment was huge to get right, and I think we really have gotten right. This is Jesse Marsch, who has been at the top level, who has managed the best clubs, whether you're looking at Leipzig, Salzburg, Leeds. Whether he's had great times at some of those clubs and hasn't, he has done an incredible job in his footballing career, and this is an incredible hire. And to start this video, even in the more in-depth area, I really need to talk about and nip this in the bud, the American side of things. There's going to be a lot of casual Canadian fans or just Canadian supporters in general talking about the fact that Jesse Marsch is American. And for me, yes, we have the Canadian-American rivalry, but that shouldn't be a con or a negative to hiring Jesse Marsch at all. The way I want to look at this is he is a manager. He is a footballing manager at the end of the day. And no matter who you support, where you're from, you're going to do your job and you're going to put the best out there and really do the best for yourself. And Jesse Marsch is going to look to, I think, really beat the United States and the Americans. He wanted the job at the CanMNT at one point, and they ended up going with Greg Berhalter. A lot of American supporters wanted Jesse Marsch, and I think Jesse Marsch is going to have a vengeance against the CanMNT as well, and he's going to be very excited to see when we do match up against them. But you also have to look at it as we have arguably the best manager based and from North America, as well the best manager from United States, managing Canada. We've pulled off a huge name that is known worldwide in the entire football sphere, and yes, not for some good things as well in England, but Jesse Marsch is known in the outer football world, not just CONCACAF, not just North America, but the whole footballing world. We've gotten a huge name, a very exciting name, albeit it doesn't have an incredible track record with every club he's been with, but this is a very exciting appointment. And I think you got to put the fact that he's American to the side, because we have the best North American-based manager, in my opinion, right now. Might be some better Mexican managers out there, but outside of that, we have the best American-based manager no matter what. And the fact that we have a better manager who's based from the USA compared to the CanMNT is absolutely laughable, in my opinion, and I think it's amazing to see. But also, I got to talk about a manager that's been with the best players, who has managed some of the best as well. Jesse Marsch has managed some of the best players out there. He has managed the likes of Josko Guardiola. He has managed Erling Haaland. He has managed some of the best footballers out there, especially with his time with Red Bull Salzburg, and even looking at Leeds United with Calvin Phillips and Rafinha, he has managed some huge players. And there was another thing Canadian supporters really wanted to look at and pinpoint, because you needed a manager who can get the best out of Alphonso Davies, Jonathan David, Tajon Buchanan, Alistair Johnston. These are guys who are coached by some of the best managers, who have been in training with some of the best, who have had some of the best tactical outlooks by some of the best managers. And I'm not going to say egos, because I don't know what these guys are like behind the pitch, but being able to tap into that man management side of things is key. And Jesse Marsch is brilliant management-wise. So I really like this appointment. Because you got to look at Alphonso Davies. He's been managed by Tommy Tuchel. He's managed by Hansi Flick, even Alistair Johnston, Ange Postecoglou, Simone Inzaghi, Paulo Fonseca. Huge managers in the world of football have managed some of these Canadians. And the fact that we're getting a manager who has managed some of the better players within the footballing landscape is very exciting. But Jesse Marsch, after getting hired, had a very interesting press conference. He didn't have loads to say, but it is a very interesting press conference, which Canucks Abroad, which is a very exciting, very informative page on Twitter, took some bits and pieces from, and I'm going to take some bits and pieces from that and break it down. Also, guys, go follow Canucks Abroad. It's very exciting, but I want to read some of the pieces and break them down from Canucks Abroad. Jesse Marsch, on the CanMNT job, had this to say, quote, "I was looking for something that inspired me both from a personal and professional perspective." Marsch says that involvement of former players like Tosin Ricketts and Rob Friend was a big draw. Says Blue was one of the best recruiters in his life. And that is unbelievable to hear. That is a huge boost for the CSA to get the backing from the manager, to get the likes of Tosin Ricketts and Rob Friend helping out in the system, which we already knew, but to get that praise from Jesse Marsch behind Kevin Blue is very exciting. Because we just got to look back to just a few years ago under John Herdman. He was a phenomenal manager. He's a legendary manager who is iconic in Canadian football now. All John Herdman really had to say about the CSA was always negative, was always bad. So the fact the CSA has turned around so much under Kevin Blue, he's managed to get people like Rob Friend and Tosin Ricketts, former huge CanMNT players, in the door, helping out with recruitment, and getting the new manager to say positive things about him is huge. Yes, albeit it's a first press conference, he's going to say something nice. I do understand that, guys. But the fact that he's coming out saying that about the CSA, I absolutely love. And he had a few other things about this say about the upcoming fixtures that I want to look at as well. As Marsch on the upcoming fixtures had to say, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. To develop and grow, you have to play in the best games against the best opponents. Those first matches will give us limitless test on how we employ everything we're about. And for me, that is huge to hear. Of course, playing the best is obviously going to be huge for you, and playing the best is going to improve the side, is going to improve you tactically and your outlook on the side to see how you come up against these bigger nations, and it's only going to improve the side playing against bigger sides, playing against bigger teams and bigger players, and can help us earn bigger transfers in the future if we perform well against France, against the Netherlands, against Argentina. And for Jesse Marsch saying that is very interesting. But I really want to talk about the fact that we had a lot of Canadian supporters and Canadian journalists talking about the fact that we need to have someone hired immediately or hired before Copa America a lot sooner because there's games coming up and they need to prepare. For me, this is a long, vigorous process that the managers who are in the running are going to have a lot of detail down on the squad, are going to have a lot of knowledge down on the squad, are going to be heavily prepared for these friendlies already, and are going to be heavily prepared thinking about Copa America, thinking about how they'll set up, talking to Kevin Blue how they'll set up, talking to the CSA about how they'll set up, and will already have that mental implant in their head on how they want to set up this side and their tactical outlook for these coming matches and for how they want to play with this Canadian side. So the fact that so many people were picking on the CSA for not having the manager in already and saying that they can't be appointed before the CSA and that it's too soon before the Copa America, it was laughable for me because yes, you need time to sink into your job, you need time to contact players, you need time to get your squad ready, but the managers who were all left in this process that we might not even know who the other ones were that went down the wire, they would have all had this side mentally focused, mentally ready in their head, tactically set up, how they want to play with this team, already set up. So that's an interesting thing for me because I just think it's very interesting that so many people were picking on the CSA about not having the manager appointed already. But there's so much interesting things on how Jesse Marsch wants to set this side up and prepare with this side. And it was such a long, interesting interview. And he also said at one point on the dual nationals perspective on Canucks Abroad did tweet this on approaching dual nationals and recruitment. If I just start with Kevin's abilities to recruit, I think that'll be a good start. We'll have to work together to recruit and really convince players that the CanMNT is the best choice for them. Of course, right now there's some very interesting ones. I'm not sure how Tom Holmes works right now, but he's a possibility. There's Luca Cogliosho. There's some very interesting Canadian dual nationals out there that we could possibly go for. And I really like that Jesse Marsch also has said in his press conference, he's had a call with the players. He's had a press conference with a group of the players, talking to them, getting to know them, and already once it was announced, talking to them and being engaged with the players to hear what they have to say. And for me, it's a very interesting appointment for Jesse Marsch, and he had one strong message I want to talk about that he ended it off, and he said, I will behave always in this position to be a custodian and to make sure that this team is always in a better place. A strong focus on discussion, regrowth of youth football, and Canada is in many ways a sleeping giant. And for me, this was always going to be a reaction video, guys, to some of his interview, to how I felt about this. Just a pure reaction video, because in a few days, I'm going to have 3 videos, hopefully around his career, what he brings to all those different things I checked off, guys. But Jesse Marsch, ending on that interview about how we are a sleeping giant is very interesting, because for times there, for a few years, we were talked about as the biggest team in CONCACAF, which isn't true anymore because the States are obviously the biggest side of things in CONCACAF. But the fact that he's going to rebuild youth football, he's going to be a custodian for a job. But I found it very interesting there that he ended off by saying he will behave in that role, because we saw John Herdman with that F Croatia stuff. We saw John Herdman recently with Toronto say those things about Simcoe County and how he's kind of led with his motto and how he kind of puts himself out there. The fact that Jesse Marsch says he's going to be a custodian, he's going to be behaving, I don't know if it's a little punch out to John Herdman, but I thought it was very interesting. He said he's going to behave. But Jesse Marsch getting appointed as a Canadian job has put me absolutely over the moon today, guys. This is a manager who's going to play 4 in the back system, which I absolutely love. This is the formation I want our Canadian national side to play. Gets the best players in the right formation, in the right setup. He's managed some of the best players in world football. He's won some huge honors, and he's Canadian. He's CONCACAF based, Canadian based, because he managed CF Montreal in the past life. But this is a brilliant appointment, an appointment I absolutely love. I don't want to make this reaction video absolutely huge, but there's so many points I could talk about. That is why we're going to have 3, 4, maybe more videos around Jesse Marsch getting hired to the Canadian national team. whether it's around my predicted lineup around a Jesse Marsch side and how I think he's going to set up, around all those checkpoints I talked about, who are the biggest players he's managed, how he managed them, how he handled them, why it's so important to have a CONCACAF North American-based manager, why the Canadian-American rivalry doesn't matter. There's so many interesting videos, guys, I'm going to make around this, and I absolutely love this appointment. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments about Canada hiring Jesse Marsch to be our next Canadian men's national team manager. And make sure to drop a like and hit that sub button, guys, because we're 7 subscribers away from 300. And it would mean the absolute world to me, guys, to keep helping out the channel, because I'm just trying to give you guys the best content possible. And I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.